There is a reason the most dangerous person in the room is usually the quiet one. It's not because they are weak. It's because they are watching. Most people speak to be seen. They react to be heard. They argue to feel powerful. But true power doesn't announce itself. It observes. Think about this. When someone talks too much, you know exactly where they stand. You know their fears. You know their triggers. You know their intentions. But when someone stays silent, you don't know what they're thinking. And that uncertainty creates tension. Because the human mind fears what it cannot read. Silence removes predictability. And when you remove predictability, you remove control from other people. That's psychological power. Most people misunderstand silence. They think silence means insecurity, weakness, social awkwardness, but in reality, silence is restraint, and restraint is strength. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that the first battle is not with other people. It is with yourself, your impulses, your ego, your need to prove something. When you conquer the urge to react, you conquer the need for validation. And when you no longer need validation, you become untouchable. Watch what happens in a room when someone insults you. If you fire back immediately, the room becomes noise. But if you pause, if you hold eye contact, if you let the silence sit, something shifts. The energy turns. People stop watching you. They start watching the other person. Because now, your silence feels deliberate. And deliberate silence feels powerful. Silence does something most people don't understand. It shifts the mental battlefield. When you speak emotionally, you play on the surface. But when you stay silent, you move beneath it. And beneath the surface is where real power lives. Because silence forces the other person to confront their own mind. If they insult you, and you don't react, now they don't know what worked. If they try to provoke you and you don't respond, now they don't know where you stand. And uncertainty creates psychological instability. The ego needs feedback. It needs reaction. It needs confirmation. Silence denies that confirmation. And when the ego is denied confirmation, it becomes uncomfortable. That discomfort is power. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Most people try to control the outside. They try to control how others see them. They try to control how arguments end. But the Stoic approach is different. You control your response. And by controlling your response, you control the entire dynamic. Because the person who reacts is predictable. But the person who pauses is calculating. Silence makes people wonder, is he unaffected? Does she not care? Did I lose my leverage? And the moment someone starts questioning their leverage, they start losing it. There's a reason interrogators use silence. There's a reason negotiators use silence. There's a reason leaders use silence. Silence creates pressure, not loud pressure, internal pressure. And internal pressure is far more powerful than shouting. Because when someone feels psychological pressure, they begin to reveal themselves. They speak more. They over-explain. They defend without being attacked. And the more they speak, the more information they give you. Silence gathers information. Noise gives it away. That is psychological power. Silence, however, must be intentional. Because there is a difference between silence born from fear and silence born from control. Fearful silence avoids conflict. Powerful silence chooses when to engage. That distinction changes everything. Imagine you are in a meeting. Someone challenges your idea aggressively. They speak fast. They try to dominate the room. Most people rush to respond. They interrupt back. They defend emotionally. They try to win immediately. But watch what happens if you don't. You let them finish. You pause. You look at them calmly. You allow 3 full seconds of silence. In those 3 seconds, the room becomes aware, not of your weakness, but of your composure. Then you respond slowly, clear, direct, minimal, no extra words. That is psychological positioning, because now you are not reacting, you are deciding. Now consider a personal situation. Someone tries to provoke you emotionally. They accuse you. They exaggerate. They expect you to defend yourself passionately. But you don't. You stay grounded. You refuse to escalate. You don't chase the last word. And suddenly the argument loses fuel. Because emotional chaos requires 2 participants. When one person withdraws emotionally, the structure collapses. Silence starves drama. And without drama, manipulation struggles to survive. But here's where most people misunderstand this concept. Silence is not about being cold. It is about being controlled. You still speak when necessary. You still set boundaries. But you do it without emotional leakage. No desperation, no over-explaining, no performance, just clarity. Clarity delivered calmly feels authoritative. Because authority does not rush. Authority does not chase approval. Authority does not beg to be understood. Over time, something subtle happens. People test you less. They provoke you less. They stop trying to destabilize you because they realize something uncomfortable. You are not easily moved, and when you are not easily moved, you become difficult to manipulate, difficult to intimidate, difficult to read. That is when silence becomes more than strategy. It becomes identity. The loudest voice in the room often hides the most insecurity. The calmest presence often holds the most control. Silence is not about shrinking yourself. It is about mastering yourself. And the person who has mastered themselves does not need to prove anything. They do not need to react to everything. They do not need to win every argument because their power is internal, and internal power is untouchable. So the next time you feel the urge to react, pause, breathe. Let the silence stretch, not to intimidate, not to manipulate, but to remind yourself you control your mind. And when you control your mind, you control the dynamic. Silence is psychological power, and psychological power is what makes you untouchable. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Stoic Scrolls, because mastering silence is mastering yourself.